Welcome, everybody, to Extranormal Podcast. I am Breanna Kaye. Alongside me is Christoph Brooks.
It's me. Me. How have you been?
He's in a great mood this evening, everybody, as you could tell.
Fantastic fucking
He just
mood.
turned 41.
Why are you giving away my age? God.
I'm trying to find the clap.
Fuck you.
Okay, there you go. 41.
How have you been? Did I ask you how you've been before you call me out grumpy?
Yeah,
That's it? That's how you've been?
great. We just celebrated your birthday.
We did.
It was wonderful.
It was splendid. It was
We
fantastic
did
at
a
every single
Disney
one.
day.
We did. We were like adult Disney people.
An adult Disney day.
Yeah, on the middle of a Tuesday. We were those people.
We had to lie to our child.
Which was like, we saw a bunch of those people who were adult Disney people.
There was a lot.
There was a lot. There was a lot of like preschool kids and adult Disney people. So, whatever. What are we talking about tonight?
Lassie?
Yeah, so I got in a kick of lake monsters recently. So I thought we could talk about it because I had a lot of fun researching what lies in the deep. And I didn't know. I mean, I kind of knew, but I didn't realize the extent of how many lake monster fucking myths there are. There's a lot.
That's
They're all over the
cool.
place. Yeah.
I love it.
But the most famous is obviously fucking Nessie from the Loch Ness. The Loch Ness
It's
monster.
such a cute nickname.
Nessie, it's a good nickname. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful fucking tourist trap name. It's like, it's really clever. But, yeah. So, do we want to get into just like the nitty gritty?
I mean, let's talk about if nobody knows where the Loch Ness monster is located.
Uh-huh.
It is in Scotland, and is it just called the Lake Loch?
Yeah, so Scotland, like another word for lake in certain areas is loch. So it's the name. It's basically Lake Ness, Loch Ness.
Yeah,
it's interchangeable.
And there's parts of it that are 800 feet deep.
Yeah, it goes pretty deep.
Yeah, and it's like 20 miles bordering Scotland and the UK. So
yeah, it's around there. So obviously, this whole myth thing has been around for a very long time. It started actually with a. Did you know there was like a Celtic or a pagan tribe called the Pict? I didn't know that. Yeah, that's where it originated. And actually, there was a lot of origin stories of sea monsters. Like did you hear about the Kelpie? Did you read about the Kelpie?
no.
It was like a siren story. So before this like Loch Ness monster showed up in myth and stuff like that, they also had a seahorse similar to, if anybody's seen Frozen 2, we have a kid. It's like that, but it varied. It was like a beautiful woman that would lure young boys in, or it was a horse that said like ride me. And as soon as some kid got on the fucking horse,
You'd eat them.
it would drag them down in the ocean and kill them in the ocean. And so that's probably actually more the origin story of Loch Ness monster than anything else. But
I love that. Now I really get the reference from Frozen, because I was always like, why is there this water horse that's trying to kill Elsa, but then Elsa conquers it?
I don't know if that was specifically a Kelpie. I wonder. I wonder if that was actually a Kelpie. That's actually a good question. I don't know. Who fucking knows? Can anybody tell us, any adult Disney
I'm sure we
folks?
could look it up.
I'm sure we could. I'm not going to, though. Why would I?
I kind of want to.
Look it up. Let's look it up in real time. Do you know when the first documented story of specifically Loch Ness monster was?
I know it definitely was AD, right?
It was AD. It was in 565. A Saint Columba, who was he was around the area, doing his thing as a saint. He was
You know what saints do.
Those saints do. He had all kinds of magical things that would happen. So take that for what it was. But according to that passage that was the written account from Saint Columba, the monster, he passed by, and he was walking by basically the loch, and he noticed a group that was gathered and kind of inquired on why they're getting. And apparently they were at a funeral because they thought, according to their tale, they thought a sea monster bit a swimmer. And And so they were there doing that. And apparently, I think that the sea monster came back or something like that. And Saint Columba, of course, it's a hero's tale. Apparently, he intervened with the sea monster attacking this person, and he told them to go back. He basically told the sea monster to just go back, which
Did it
is
listen?
it listened. And I could honestly, I have a tale that can verify this, because when I was young, we were camping with my family, and I was super young, and me and my dad were out in the kind of towards the middle of the night, like I don't know, we were doing something, but the bear started strolling across the thing, and my dad forcibly said, "Go home, bear," and the bear went home. So I can verify maybe there's some there's some validity maybe to this tale of just literally just with some monsters and fierce animals, you just have to tell them to go away, and then they do. But it obeyed, and over the centuries, that tale kind of got spread a little bit. But there was a few sightings. They were obviously inspired by a lot of the folklore and stuff like that. There was tales of serpent. It was much more serpent-like back in those days. But as you know, I mean, 1933 fucking totally kicked off the fucking craze of Loch Ness Monster. Like that's when it exploded into cultural lore. One of the significances of that, one of the reasons why it started breaking out into pop culture, was because they actually finally built a fucking road that to Loch. Before it was like you basically had to be a fucking hiker to get to that area. But they finally built a road, so that had some sightings. But I guess maybe the most credible is the what did they call him? The sea sheriff. Did you see this? The 1933. What kind of really spurred on this?
I think so.
Who is a sea sheriff? There's a thing called like a sea sheriff. Hold on, let me find out. Sea sheriff. We're doing research live here, and it's okay.
Okay.
That fucking photo.
What photo?
The famous surgeon's photo. I'm looking at it. Anyway, there was like an officer. We'll find out what he really was. He was like they called him like a sea sheriff or some fucking bullshit like that. But he reported a sighting of Loch Ness Monster, which I think probably is the most verified of what became modern Loch Ness Monster lore. Is he saw something. He said it was a lot of people reported it as like dragon like or prehistoric monster in the water. So that spurred on a lot of newspapers to start digging around, and the Daily Mail commissioned. Have you heard of Marmaduke Weatherall? Mm-mm. So this fucking guy. There's a guy named Marmaduke Weatherall who was commissioned by the newspaper. Like, so basically the newspaper is like, there's something going on, and people are saying stuff. This sea sheriff, I'm gonna keep calling him sea sheriff because I like that, is reporting sightings. Everybody's reporting sightings. We need to have someone who's verified, like a tracker, a hunter, sort of like a witcher, to come in and find this sea monster. So they hired this guy named Marmaduke Weatherall, who they thought was a big game hunter, to locate this sea serpent. He had a reputation as being able to track large animals. He actually pretty quickly...
With the name Marmaduke. I mean,
Marmaduke
it's just epic.
It's a fucking ridiculous name. It's stupid, to be honest. But so apparently they commissioned this guy to find the serpent. Well, he found tracks very quickly. So he found footprints. Actually, was the first thing he found from a large animal. Well, they went forward, and the Natural History Museum did a little study, and they actually found out very shortly after that this was just apparently Marmaduke took an umbrella stand with hippopotamus legs. Apparently there was umbrella stands with hippopotamus legs back in the day.
Don't even.
Old timey Marmaduke with a hippopotamus umbrella. It's like completely out of fucking some weird old cartoon. But they found out that he used that to make the footprints.
Oh my God.
And so that really dispelled Marmaduke Weatherall from the hunt. He lost,
Well, yeah. Can't trust him.
he lost all credibility. It's really kind of, it's not incredibly clear what his role in that was.
Yeah.
It's very murky. They don't know exactly what. I'm sure he had, because they also found out that he was actually just an actor. He wasn't even a big game hunter. He was just a hoax man, and he was just like, I could do it. And he just came in confident. They're like, this guy must be telling the truth.
It's like, I feel like he's like the guy from the show we started watching about Bigfoot.
He is. But a fake version. We started watching shit, what's that show? It's about the guy who, hold on. It's about the
furry suit.
The guy who wears the furry suit, and he gets mistaken for Bigfoot, which gets the town in a craze to find Big Tooth, but it's all a big old lie. It is about Pottersville. That's the name of the show. Just in case, I just wanted to shout it out, just in case anybody want to watch it. It's pretty good. It's decent.
Yeah.
As like it's like spoofing off of like the fucking cryptid hunter shows and all that stuff. But so that was squashed. So that was a very famous case of research, and that was
in
squashed.
the 1930s.
In 1933, yeah. The explosion, the fucking Big Bang of Loch Ness theory in common culture that we know of is the infamous 1934 picture done by physician, gynecologist, Robert Kenneth Wilson, who photographed the creature in 1934, which is very famously became known as a surgeon's photo, which it looked like it showed, everybody's seen it, and we could share it on our social medias, but everybody's seen that photo, like the one where it shows it's grainy, and it shows the little hump in the head, basically. So that's the surgeon's photo, and that's what kicked off fucking all this hysteria. And he submitted it to the Daily Mail, who printed the photograph, which just then all of a sudden it blew up, right? It was in every single fucking common culture thing at that time, especially in that region. It's generated billions of dollars in revenue. It's also there's also been many people searching or trying to replicate that photo, in terms of there's been many sightings. There's been we watched a special, I think, In Search Of, which had that guy who's reportedly found some movement, and he said it was Loch Ness Monster. So this surgeon's photo just fucking kicked off the whole fucking show, right? Caveat on the surgeon's photo, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but it turns out in the 90s it was revealed to be a hoax. Mm-hmm. Because the son of Marmaduke said that actually, because of he was, I believe that the story goes, is because Marmaduke was discredited with these footprint things. He actually knew Robert Kenneth Wilson, and because he was a gynecologist, he has a degree and he has a proper profession. Like, let's enlist him because it was more credible.
Oh my God.
So they enlisted, and then also too is apparently if you take the whole picture, like that's just a crop picture that everybody's looking at. If you take the whole picture, it looks like a China. They say it was I think
Clay.
it was a toy submarine with like, I think a fake like
clay
head or whatever. So completely manufactured. But that doesn't stop the speculation. Us, at least, people being obsessed and people still trying to hunt down the Loch Ness monster. Before we move forward, right? Because we'll start getting into more of the scientific stuff and kind of some of what they found. If you want to delve deeper, you can look at all those In Search Of shows and everything. But do you believe that the Loch Ness monster currently is in the loch?
I think it's a possibility. I don't want to say that it's completely hands down. No, it's this prehistoric animal. People made it up. I think that there is potential for a species like that, because even some of the prehistoric species that were like similar to what they say that like Nessie looks like, they could also live in fresh water as well. So there is potential there. I think the biggest thing that makes me, and I hate even saying it, lean towards maybe no, is the fact that, I mean, obviously, just like humans, like creatures, beings need to procreate to keep their species alive. Yeah. And so I feel like for it to be so rare to see this creature when so many people visit, especially now that it's such a landmark, you know, for people to visit, that's the one inkling that leaves me to think that they're extinct at this point. But I do have hope that maybe there's some pockets underneath and caves that maybe that's where their habitat is now, and maybe every once in a while they come up, but they're just really intelligent and they know not to fuck with humans.
I mean,
because we fuck shit up.
I mean, whales are very intelligent, but even whales, one of the issues I have like with the Loch Ness theory is a lot of speculation is based on the fact that it's a plesiosaur, I think is the name of the extinct dinosaur species at this point. I can't even
pronounce it.
It's plesiosaur, I believe. Is that they have to come up for air, right? The Loch Ness monster, if it has to come up for air
like I said, if there's
multiple points, and whales can hold their breath for a very, like, to be clear, a very, very long time. But eventually, it's gonna have to come up for air. So I feel like you would see more sightings if, in fact, it doesn't have gills. If it's a mammal and it breathes air, I feel like maybe it's out there, but it's maybe a large Nessie like fish, a giant fish, like almost like a giant squid equivalent, is out there because the water does. I did see it on a special that the water does get very dark and murky as you go deeper.
Right.
But maybe that exists.
But even like there, you know, I was reading, and like even like we know that the great blue whale exists, right?
Yes.
But it's verified. It's very rarely seen.
Sure, but it's seen.
Very rarely. And people very rarely see the Loch Ness monster.
The problem is, I
think that there is potential. And then when you think about what the blue whale lives off of, because people think, well, whoa, what does it eat? Well, you need all this.
A lot of food. It would need a fucking ton of food.
Blue whale
But the ocean's bigger. The issue is, that's another issue. So oxygen is an issue, a fundamental issue.
Vegetarian.
But it would have to. I saw that if it were the size that some speculate, I'm not saying it could be it could be a smaller version of. I think it works. I think the smaller you go with Loch Ness monster, right? If you don't picture it as this giant plesiosaur size, like essentially proto or pseudo dinosaur, like a crocodile like figure that came from dinosaurs, but is kind of out of that realm now. The smaller you go, the more it makes sense, because if it's the size that like everybody wants it to be, that I want it to be, it would have to eat. I think I saw like 45,000 tons of food a day or something.
Yeah,
something fucking insane that I don't think the lake itself could support. You would have to have some kind of like ancient aliens like gateway theory where there's like some weird portal and it like goes back and forth.
I'm open to that.
Or
but I think
tunnels.
that there's underground caves, and I just do. I think that there is a good potential that it could be real.
I think there's so much in the ocean. The ocean is like I also got into like some of the, as I was getting into these lake monsters and these creatures, I really got into, because I think we've touched base on a few episodes, like the ocean and its mystery and its bizarreness and its creepiness, and also too for that matter, the amount of shit we don't know about the ocean compared to, whatever, the forests of California. Like when we start talking about, we're going to talk about Bigfoot, I'm sure one day, but the ocean is so much more vast and so much more unexplored. As is the Amazon. Like the ocean and the Amazon are the two places on Earth where it's still so like it's so mysterious to us, right? So there could be some potential, like the sea creature thing is as a potential for being unexplored. But it's hard for me to imagine a air breathing mammal would not come up enough, considering how much tourism there is in Loch Ness and stuff like that, to be seen. Could be a gilled giant sea creature of some sort, or I mean, maybe I don't know. It's hard to, and also too, you touched on a point too, is repopulating.
Yeah.
There would have to be a significant. It couldn't be just like one Nessie like floating, like, "Hey guys, I've been around."
Well,
for...
that one video did show that there was possibly 2.
There could be. I mean, but we would need more than 2.
Yes.
And you could also too. We're just.
Or
Or
maybe they're nocturnal and they only really come up at night, and it was.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who've seen it at night. But it's harder to see at night. It's harder,
yeah. It's harder to see them probably at night.
But that's. I mean, I feel like when in that case, right? And for the record, I'm not making a significant or a distinct stance on whether Nessie exists or not. You know, I'm not putting a finite answer on this. I still haven't, for my sake, I've seen some interesting theories, but I haven't seen enough evidence to label it as like a stamp it on the curse. I know
Same. No, but I think I'm just more open to it being real than you.
Yeah. I don't, maybe. Yeah, I think so. I think you want it more. I think you want it more. Like, I'm kind of like, that'd be cool. But
you know what? Like in ancients too, like different, from all over the world, they believed in like giant snakes.
Sure.
So growing up, I always thought the Loch Ness monster was a giant like serpent snake thing, dragon face.
And you know what that could. So one of the things, and that's a great point actually, because when Saint Columba came in 565 and he talked to the script, let me make sure I got that right. What's in the fucking name of them? Did I get it right?
What's the name of them?
Pict. So when Saint Columba came to talk to the Pict, I don't know why I say script. I got movies on the mind, baby. But when he came, they described it as a serpent. Like they thought full-fledged it was a fucking serpent. One of the theories that's posited out there that could be an explanation is that there is some belief that there might be giant eels in Loch Ness. Ugh. Which is fucking terrible. Which actually, when I looked at the video that we saw, so Google in search of, and you'll see Loch Ness in search of, you'll see, and there's a famous guy who, he's eccentric for sure, but he shot on a camcorder a video that looks like some kind of like almost like a neck or a back or something coming in and out of the water. Mm-hmm. That to me that could look like an eel. Like
the real question is it electrifying like an eel? Could you imagine if it was a giant eel and it electrocuted you? You'd fucking be toast.
Yeah, I don't know. And the other thing that kind of that I was looking at, there's been a ton of sonar that they've done to try to kind of map the lake to see what was going on. If it just wasn't so murky,
I feel like it would be so much better.
Sure. And that's the thing with the ocean is like, I'm going to sound so dumb saying this, but it's so deep and it's so murky. Like, the
ocean is different because the ocean is like,
only James Cameron's been down there.
Well, there's only so far we can go where our body can take it, Yeah. Like we'll die if we go too deep
and they have
the depths.
We've gone basically almost to the bottom of the ocean in these vessels, but it's very like, it's as if like in terms of like what the full picture of the bottom of the ocean or the depths of the ocean and what we see, and they haven't done this I'm talking about like the vast ocean, like the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, all those fun oceans we know and love. It's like as if like it's literally like when we're talking about us knowing what's at the bottom of the ocean, it's as if, and we have a better understanding than before, but it's as if like you walked down, like you took a car down one street of New York, right? And you left because you couldn't stay incredibly long. And you're like, I know every inch of New York now.
Right.
Like, I know New York. You don't. Like, we don't know the bottom of the ocean. Just because we've been down there doesn't mean we fucking know exact. We have some better understanding and all the fucked up fish. Have you seen the fucking fish with the fucking light and the
I think
jagged teeth?
he's so brilliant. Like how they adapt, like to, oh my God.
That's a smart ass fish.
It's fucking
Come into the
incredible.
light.
It's so incredible.
It's got to be so cutthroat down
Still,
there.
the most incredible is the octopus. The octopus might be a Loch Ness monster.
You think so?
If he
I
can
mean, there are-
shapeshift.
Oh my God. You know what? I was obsessed with the idea of fucking giant squids. Like when I was looking at the lake monsters, fucking giant squids are rad. And you know, I saw that, like, this is a tangent, but who gives a shit? That I saw that like nobody's ever actually caught a giant squid because they're too fucking big. Like you can't
How have they been able to, kill
they've
them?
been able to document them. They've seen giant squid.
How are the giant squid? Are they skittish?
doing
Or are
okay, I
they
think
kind
they-
of no? Are they
oh.
kind of aggressive? You're so stupid. Like, are they more territorial? Don't get too close. Are they more curious? Are they attack mode? Like, are they more? Because typically I would think of a squid being more shy and not going to be more timid to attack you unless it feels threatened. So that's
Yeah. I mean, I think they're
kinda
very
like an octopus.
territorial. I want to see a giant squid fucking fight a whale. Because that shit happens down there.
Does it?
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Is there videos of it? Oh,
I don't think there's videos of it. I'm going to guess that because of the nature of the internet.
yeah. I heard the giant squid. Didn't we watch? There was like shows we used to watch on the History Channel. Think about it. And it would say like how rare they are and
They're pretty rare.
they're
Yeah.
hard to find. I think they're just
Well, they're pretty deep, don't they? I think
Yeah.
they usually hang out in the depths of the ocean.
and there you go. There can be your proof for Nessie.
Well, I think that, and again, I think that for me, I think a gilled giant fish like that makes sense also because I did see too that if Nessie has a neck like a plesiosaur, it would be very hard for the creature to come up for air because the neck is too long. It wouldn't be able to like basically have that what we see in the.
Unless it was a giant snake serpent.
I think you might be in terms of trying to add some validity to it. I think maybe the surgeon's photo, the fake, really altered how we see whatever this giant sea creature is in the ocean. It completely doctored and
So they're
reframed our thought.
So everybody's like, oh, that's impossible. But then when you throw a giant eel, snake, serpent thing, then it's like all of a sudden it's like eureka, that could be possible.
Yeah, and I think that like it also probably affected a lot of people's like false sightings too. They see a log in the wood. We'll get to Champlain. They see a log and they think it's Nessie when it's just a log, but there could be like when you see like the camcorder footage we saw, that could actually be real. And that actually, did you know that there is an American Nessie?
No, let's go.
His name is Champ.
Oh God.
You ever heard of Champ? You know why they call him Champ?
Stupid names. Why,
They
does
call
he
him.
plays sports.
Yes, he's a champion in our hearts. Because he's actually from Lake Champlain. It's not that exciting, but he also is a lake monster. He is in New York. Is where's Lake Champlain? Parts of New York, parts of Vermont, and parts of Quebec. So he is apparently. I'm looking at this right now. With 300 of the years, there's been over 300 sightings of Champ. So there's been a lot of sightings of him. It's not just like one person. There's actually a photo that we will share that is pretty infamous, and it looks a little more legit than the surgeon's photo. Like it's actually kind of been verified not to be altered in some way. It
I
could
want
be.
to see. Let's see. And we'll post it to our page as well.
Yeah, let's look at it right now.
I want to go visit him.
Hear me type.
Now that we know that he's here in America.
I want to get your opinion on this. This is the famous picture of supposedly
I've seen
Champ.
that before.
That's Champ. It looks more legit than the surgeon's photo. That's the surgeon's photo. That looks like a
So
fucking
stupid.
toy.
Yeah.
This looks more legit. I mean, it also looks like it could be something random floating in the ocean.
It looks like almost like a fin to a whale on its side.
That could be it. There's theories that it could be a log, or could it be Champ?
I hope it's Champ.
Champ. But there's been a lot of sightings of Champ.
The idea, though, of giant snakes in the water makes me never want to go swimming. But you know what? It's possible. Like the Champ's possible, Nessie's possible. If they are relatives from prehistoric times, that's possible too. Because we still have crocodiles that are from prehistoric times.
Crocodiles.
We have birds
big ones too. Giant
that are,
ones.
So it's maybe they've adapted. Obviously, they've shifted over the years and evolved, but
They've grown up. They've matured.
I think that there's definitely some potential there.
And it's so apparently it comes from the Iroquois, which is a native tribe. And it comes from the legends of giant snakes in the water.
There you go.
There's a lot of myths of giant serpents. Though.
Yeah. There's a lot of I don't know. I don't really want to say everything from the ancients is myths, because there's so much that all over the world and places where you think they couldn't even be connected, like Egypt, but then in regions of South America, they have pyramids or they might have similar gods or whatever. So for me, that makes me really wonder if maybe some of these creatures did really exist. Especially, I definitely think dragons were at one time here. 100%.
What time do you think they were here? You don't think they were here during the medieval times, right? Dinner and theater.
I don't know, but I would definitely want to say, the dynasty days, definitely in China. Definitely in China, I think that there were dragons, and I think that they came from other planets.
I was going to ask you if that's an ancient. It sounds like an ancient aliens theory. What do they call themselves? The astronaut, ancient astronaut theory, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's not even their theory. I mean, this is documentation, though. Like the yellow, there was the yellow dragon, and he was like a god. He could shapeshift.
Do you think that would be so cool if there was because every time, don't you think there's a dearth of fucking creativity when it comes to people talking about aliens? Everybody it's now defaulted to the grays, right? There's nobody talking about. I guess there was that movie where the aliens are like squids, but there's not a lot of talk of aliens looking like dragons or aliens looking like.
Oh, well, I mean, when you go back to shape-shifting, I mean, why not?
Do you think there's? I mean, there has to be room for There's obviously room for non-bipedal aliens out there, right? There has to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you never see that. You never hear even in the ancient aliens realm. You talked about dinosaurs being maybe something that was posited as aliens coming, but for the most part, in that theory, the Egyptians were visited by bipedal humanoid-looking aliens. The Mayans were visited.
They definitely had different species.
You were talking about but they were more reverse mermaids than actual a wolf or.
They worship the dung beetle, so that was a very powerful beetle.
Wasn't it big on fertilizer? The dung beetle was I would imagine that it had a lot of agricultural uses, so it might have been.
Well, I think the dung beetle was very intelligent in the sense where it would carry, I think it's egg inside of.
Yeah, dung beetles are bright. There's a lot of discovered. There's a lot of bright animals out there.
It would follow
real and fake.
The horizon, with the sun. It was always aligned with the stars and the sun, which was really freaking interesting. So, yeah. So the Egyptians were fascinated.
They're that guy's got something going on. That dung beetle's got something going on
with his dung.
Yeah, with his dung and dong. But a lot of these there's such a bias towards like humanoid, right? Because even in the Egyptian, if you take the Egyptians' gods as like truly aliens in disguise or whatever, you go full Stargate on it. They are, they're humanoid. Why don't we have more? Let's create more fucking four-legged, like a hippo alien like mythology, or not. Let's call it truology. There's got to be some out there, right?
I want to say like in India, there's something with a hippo. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. Do you think that's an alien? Do you think?
The
Okay,
hippo
let me ask
god?
you this. Can I ask you this?
Sure.
Can I ask you something? Do you think? Sorry. What?
No, I'm just laughing.
Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Can I ask you something?
Can I ask you something?
Can I ask you something personal?
Go ahead.
When was the last time you had your period?
Oh my God.
Do you
Current.
do you think the do you think all mythology, right, is centered around some extraterrestrial visitation, some misinterpreted alien visitation, or do you think some of it was just kind of made up by humans, some of it was alien visits, some of it like it's a hodgepodge? Do you think
Hodgepodge. Because I think that like I was just actually talking to our child about this yesterday. Like we were just talking about, I was explaining to her how people had to just use their imagination and make up songs
Boring.
in their head before there was TV technology, radios. They would just sit around and they'd make up stories.
Oh,
So I
God.
mean, maybe the stories over time told and brought down from generation to generation, and maybe eventually, somebody truly believed that it was real or dreamed about whatever the topic was they were talking about in the little story that they made up. So maybe somehow it became kind of like some like legend, folklore.
Yeah, it could have been. And that also, do you think there's any part of, I got to ask you this again. Can I ask you something?
Oh my God.
Can I ask you something?
Stop saying
gonna
that
do
like that.
Whoa, it's you got the bird's eye, I got the bottom eye.
Oh my God.
Just adjusting my camera because this one's fucking up. God damn it. Do you think any part of like you talked about dragons? Do you think any part of that dragon mythology is like and you mentioned retelling stories like playing telephone? Everything.
No, I think the dragon's real.
Do you think you don't? Well, what do you think? What do you think I was going to ask?
If I think the dragons are fake.
No, I was going to ask you if you think that somehow there's this like consciousness, right, of dinosaurs, because I'm not confusing for everybody's gonna be like, you're a fucking idiot. I know that dinosaurs didn't exist at the same time as humans. Okay. But do you think somehow it's this weird collective conscious we have some sense of the past even we didn't experience or haven't been told, and that they kind of had a sense somehow through kinetic energy. I'm sounding dumber as I talk. That dinosaurs existed somehow.
Yes.
I wonder if that's true. Is there any like quantum physics, like people smarter than me, that believe that there's a human
Do you want to know what
there's like a cosmic consciousness that somehow knows all history, like in some way?
Well, do you remember the episode where we talked about star children?
No.
If there's a theory,
David Bowie?
there's a theory that he's a star man.
Lighting in the sky.
There's a theory that we all are star children, and we started off in the stars, and we each get
All made of
a
fucking
chance.
dust, brother.
Oh my God! And we each get a chance to come in a life form, because we're in this without this light form. We're just light. We're just the stars.
Okay.
And so we get the chance to live in this life, and how it affects us in this life that's why it's so different for everybody. Do we really live the life to the fullest? Because this is all an experience, and they say some people forget that, but some people remember that consciousness. So maybe that has something to do with that. Like I always feel like there's more to this life, and there's more to me than this vessel that I am. And I wonder if that theory is true, if it comes from being a star child, because once we die, we go back and we have that experience, and then we're supposed to go back to the stars. So
we're gonna head him back. I wonder if atoms, and again, someone smarter than us, like, please come on the podcast and tell us how dumb we are. But I wonder if atoms have memories, because we are all made of kind of recycled atoms, and if those atoms have memory, there might be some subconscious where we have a fractured memory of everything that's ever happened since the Big Bang, but we just can't grasp it, right? We can feel it, and it's in our subconscious, but we can't hold on to it.
And I think that that's maybe something that has to do with being a star child, because if we are everything and we're a part of everything, there has to be like that consciousness in the back of our minds that's just always there, but we can't reach it fully, you know? It's like when you look up at the stars. I think it's when you look out at the ocean and you're admiring it, but you're also feeling connected to it somehow.
Well, because even on the baseline, theories, we came from there. Even if you don't think, we're creatures of God, or if you don't believe in whether you believe in, like, not to fracture this, but whether you believe in science or religion, because sometimes those intermingle and sometimes those work well together, sometimes they don't. But if you believe in either one, you have to believe we came from the stars. That's our origin story. Mm-hmm. We are truly, in every sense of the word, whether it's as if you were explaining, or whether it's just as rudimentary as we're atoms that originally came from the explosion that was the Big Bang Theory. We're all from out there. Like, yeah. It's pretty long down the family history tree. Isn't it crazy to think that we are, in some ways, there's a T-Rex on your family tree? Pretty far back, but eventually you can get to a T-Rex.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
I'd rather be connected to a Loch Ness monster.
A Loch Ness, a plesiosaur, as those hoity-toity fucking normie scientists are saying, a plesiosaur that...
I would be a pink one. Think there's pink ones?
Pink like plesiosaurs? I mean,
there's like
I don't think so.
There's like salmon. Wasn't there like salmon colored dinosaurs?
I think so, probably.
I would be salmon.
I don't know. I think that's like all camouflage, right? Or it's either camouflage or attraction. Isn't that the law of nature? Like, either you're trying to blend in or you're trying to like stand out like a peacock.
Speaking of
you're like,
camouflage,
look at me.
why haven't you worn your camouflage suit yet?
My ghillie suit? Because I missed my opportunity and now I'm bummed out. I will wear it.
You should wear it on the podcast.
I will wear it on the podcast.
That'd be great.
Are we going to... I got to ask you. I got to ask for an update.
You should wear it to Alien Con.
Well, are we going to be vendors there?
I actually was just talking to Sherry and Bernie about it.
Okay. Are we vending?
It's up to you.
Oh, God. This is a inside...
Let's take a poll. Let's see
inside
what
baseball and
let's see what our listeners say. What y'all say?
I don't know. I want to be part of the fucking show. I want to be there. I want to be fucking... I want to contribute to the beauty that is Alien Con. I want Giorgio to look up to me.
I want both.
We got accepted, by the way. Just so but we're debating on whether we're going to actually do it as vendors. We're not going to be part of any of the shows. We're not going to hold a panel on fucking Loch Ness sponsor.
Oh, that'd be cool though.
We should hold unofficial panels. The potential.
I want to vend, but then I also want to be able to go with you into the different conference halls and all the things, and so I don't know.
Can't we just put like a sign up that says "Gone to lunch" every time we go to?
Be back in 30.
Be back in 30. Aliens took us. Abducted. Be back in 30. See, how cute would that be? People would love that fucking shit. I'm already there. I'm already there in fucking spirit as a vendor. We're going to do it.
It'd be cute if we sold signs that said
that. Oh, so that's it. There's other like monsters. Oh, I hate to hear the statue of a meatpacking magnate that was beheaded in Sacramento.
Oh, what?
A meat packing magnate.
I don't know what that means.
A meat packing magnate?
What is that?
It's someone who was very famous for meat packing. He was like a leader in the meat packing industry.
He got arrested? Or
His statue got beheaded.
Oh.
Just a statue, though.
That's great.
Where is that? Oh, my God.
More importantly, what about the article you sent me? I didn't get a chance to read it because Clementine was in the bathroom with me. And the article.
Which one?
The alien thing.
Which
I didn't
one?
get a chance to look at it because I was like, I don't want to open this because she's going to see it and freak out and not want to go to sleep tonight.
Let's look at it. Oh, the witness. Yeah. So this is apparently. I'm gonna read this from Roger Marsh. What the fuck? This is the guy. Anyways, apparently there's speculation that so a California witness at Napa, again according to Roger Marsh, a California witness in Napa reported watching a silent triangle-shaped object flying low with white lights at the three corners at 11:45 on November 29th, 2022, according to testimony from the National UFO Reporting Center. Newfork, as opposed to MUFON. Are we joining MUFON or Newfork? I feel like we should become a member.
I thought we're MUFON members. But then like the shutdown happened.
Yeah. The witness and his wife were traveling back from a dinner in Palo Alto to Napa along from the California 29 when the object was first seen. We noticed three lights at a triangle in a triangle shape, the reporting witness stated. The craft followed the road in the same directions as our travel and then veered off to the left. We did not hear any noise from the object, and it quickly disappeared after turning left. The witness said they were near an airport, and the lighting shape and size of the object are what captured their attention. The lights were at the corners of the craft, were white, and we could see no port or starboard lighting of red or green. The craft was dark colored. The wife was able to take 2 pictures with her phone from the car. They are not great, but the lights in triangle shape can be seen.
Where is it?
I'm going to look for the pictures.
Don't tell me that's the picture.
That's not the picture. Where is it? And of course, they don't even fucking share the picture. God damn it. Are we members of MUFON? We were. We were. What happened?
The shutdown happened.
You know what I've noticed? I have noticed that there is less interest in UFO disclosures from a government perspective as there was. Remember in 2020 and some of 2021, there was so much fascination.
Look over here.
And government speculation, or just speculation on what the government knew for alien visitations and all that stuff and sightings. And now that everybody's gone back to their fucking lives of distraction, there is nowhere near as much attention. Have you noticed that?
Well, it kind of made me mad too, because I remember at that time everybody was sending me articles on it, and they're like, and I was just kind of like, yeah, now you guys are all interested. And then as soon as things go back, like nobody cares anymore. They've gone back to just thinking I'm crazy.
I think it was just I think there was so much that I think so much of it was because we had nothing else to do, really. I think now that we're distracted, and honestly, we're not really getting any clear answers from the government other than them. Like we don't know what it is. After they've heard we don't know what it is for the 40th time, it's like, okay, we're not going to get any real. Even if the government knew, I don't think they would give us any legitimate answers public-wide. I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
I do think that I do think that there's some stuff out there and the government truly doesn't know what it is and they're freaked out about it, but they're not sharing any footage or anything like that. It's crazy. Us as citizens of Earth have taken off.
The time will come.
When what?
And it'll be beyond the government's control.
Well, I mean, if there's mass visitation, then
we all gonna know.
We're gonna know.
Same time.
It also makes me wonder if there's it kind of
makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder. It makes me wonder how valid the vast majority of these sightings are, because I feel like to take, again, not to be too human Earth centric, but like if you look at the New World exploration, right? There's tales of like the natives not knowing what the Mayflower was and stuff like that and all that stuff. But eventually more ships came, like in mass. Like I feel like if the aliens, unless something happened to them, I'm wondering why. It's making me wonder why, if they have, is it why they're not coming more in mass at this point? Like secret, like I know there's a lot of positing that they're
Shape-shifting.
okay. Well, there's that. But why? Why do they need to be spies if they have technology that would overpower
Their planet is dying.
But then why not come to ours then? If they can sustain themselves.
Their race is dying. They've figured out that they can hybrid and procreate with our DNA to make a hybrid. So they're going the hybrid route. And then once they have enough of the hybrids, they can either just kill us all off because they're more intelligent, or they can go back to their planet if there's something left to fix.
Well, that has to be a new plan then, right? Because if it goes back to the Anunnaki and stuff, that game's too slow because they've been at it for thousands of years now, and they still haven't had the hybrids successful.
Anunnaki can't come back to our planet. I think till
they got booted.
There's like a
how'd they get kicked out? What are you talking about? What is this?
There's like a veil of like they can't come back until
what?
20,
hold on.
40.
What theory is this where the Anunnaki were kicked out of the club and they can't come back?
No, it's like their veil closes from their.
What veil? You got to explain yourself.
Planet.
What?
You've
what?
Never heard that?
Look it up. I've never heard this. What are you talking about?
Why this should be our next topic?
Well, I don't know what's happening. What are you talking about? You're saying the Anunnaki were here as Egyptian pharaohs, right? Isn't that the thing? I don't know. Someone's gonna shout at me. But then they got fucking kicked out, and then now there's a veil.
They didn't get kicked out. They come for so like a period of time, and I don't.
Who's not letting them back in? Is it
they
themselves?
They don't tell there's not the whole. This is all documented stuff down. It's down. It's like
government.
It's written. It's in writing, but they can come here for a certain amount of time.
Okay, why?
I don't know.
God damn it.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe to better their species.
They just don't want to overstay their welcome.
You know, at some point, I think they were here to help us, but now I don't know what they're doing with us.
But I don't think the hybrid theory, like the Anunnaki aside, I don't think the hybrid theory does well with. Can anybody hear the plane? If you're listening on audio only. Anyways, plane break. Like the hybrid theory, I don't think it works well with the ancient alien theory, right? Unless they created hybrids and they're just kind of like left. If their hybrid theory is to take over as hybrids, like maybe, but it's been like a couple 1,000-year game, and so they're not really making much progress. I don't know.
I think we should.
I think maybe the hybrid thing is that maybe they came down in like ancient times and they got down with a few, but it wasn't
how many throughout history and in different religions and in different cultures are there those stories? Those stories are all over the world.
There's a lot, yeah, for sure. But I think what I'm trying to say is that it might have been like an accidental, like boing boing, the alien got a little too frisky. I mean, it wasn't like a consolidated.
It's always hard for me when I think of Anunnakis because they're known to be like giants to us. How they get down with these little people? How they get down?
Same way Superman had sex with Lois Lane. He was very careful. I
mean, unless they could, like, it's morphin time and morph themselves into like
morphin. It's fucking time.
It's morphin time. Morph my dick.
It's boning
time. Make my dick smaller.
Morph it. Oh, you know, even alien or not, you know, no alien, no human is going to make their dick smaller. It's just not going to happen. It's just there's too much pride with the dumb males.
He's got to get it in.
No. He'll just stand.
They'll just
stand
do it
in the other
scientifically, and like they could just do that with the syringe.
One click of the pen, and you are pregnant, my friend. Yeah, no, I don't think that. I think maybe, if anything, the giant, the well endowed fucking Anunnaki, he's on one side of the room and she's on the other, and he's just like,
Just the tip.
it's just the tip. He's like tent poling it out on the other side.
Wow.
He's making a very long H.
So stupid.
Yeah, anyways. Well, this has been an episode of Extranormal Podcast. My name is Christoph. Alongside me again is Breanna. You can find us at Extranormal Podcast on Twitter, on Twitch,
It's morphin' time.
on TikTok, on Insta, all the social medias. You can email us at extranormalpodcast@gmail.com. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you don't forget to like, subscribe, get notifications, all that stuff, so you can find out when this is happening live, and you can also find out when we post our shit. And thank you so much.